Hello, this is Michaela, and today I want to go over how I made my vegetarian chili the other night, and it was made from butternut squash and a bunch of other vegetables. It was really good. I've had a ton of different meatless chilies, like including ones with mushrooms and lentils, beans, butternut squash, and this one with the butternut squash I've found to be really good. So you're going to start by cutting up one onion, and this can be any kind of onion you want, and I actually like to chop them up into larger chunks so that they're not diced. I prefer to be able to taste the onion while I'm eating it in the chili. But it's up to you, whatever you want. And then saute this in a pot over about medium heat, medium-low heat, and also your eyes are going to water. Use olive oil, it makes the flavor come out much better in the onion. Once you get your onions started on the stove, you're going to want to add garlic, either cloves or just jarred garlic, which is what we have. And of course, just measure with your heart. I just dumped in some with a knife, whatever looks good to you. And then you're going to chop up tomatoes. And for fresh tomatoes, I used 1.5 tomatoes, and this is very arbitrary. It doesn't really matter how much you use, just around this amount. I also add, once I've diced up my fresh tomato, a can of diced tomatoes because this tends to be juicier and has a bit stronger tomato flavor. It just adds liquid to it as well, I think. So then you're going to add your tomatoes, diced and fresh, into the mixture with the onions and garlic. Add more olive oil too if you feel like your onions are beginning to stick. Once your chopped tomatoes, onions, and garlic are all stirred together, then you can add your butternut squash. You can do fresh or frozen, just make sure that you give it ample time for it to get soft because you do not want to be eating hard chunks of butternut squash. I used frozen and just dumped it in with the tomatoes and onions to just let it get soft on the stove. Traditionally, limes are used in chili. We did not have one, so I used a lemon, but it worked out fine. You're going to want to use the zest of half a lemon and the juice of half a lemon to just add a little bit of tang to your chili and dump that in with everything else. At this point, it's really not looking like chili, but it will eventually turn darker and more chili-like. Next is to add the spices, which, like the garlic, is also very arbitrary. So I used cumin, cayenne pepper, chili powder, smoked paprika, and baking cocoa. And make sure it's unsweetened. The baking cocoa adds a layer of richness to the chili, and it also darkens it as well, so this is an important ingredient. The quantity of flavorings that you use will be up to you, but just for reference, I used about just over 1.5 tablespoons of smoked paprika, about 1 tablespoon of cumin powder, and about 1 tablespoon of chili powder. Of course, make sure to stir these seasonings really well throughout the chili so that it's evenly dispersed throughout all the vegetables. And then also you can add either water or vegetable stock. I prefer to use water just because I think that it tastes fine either way, and add until you feel like you have enough liquid. Usually that's going to be like 1/4 cup to a cup of water or vegetable stock. Add a dash of cayenne pepper to add some spice to it. I'm pretty light-handed. And then also some beans. I use kidney beans, but you can use any kind of beans that you want. Just make sure to drain and rinse them. Then while the chili is simmering, I set the table, napkins, drinks, that sort of thing. Moose came down and visited me. Have you come to join me, Moose? Hello? We used sour cream and cheese as our toppings, and then I also cut up some fresh bread that I had baked the other day as a side for the chili. I also put up the salt so we can each add our own preference for our amount of salt onto our chili, but you can add it straight to the pot too if you'd rather just incorporate it straight into the recipe. After simmering for around 15 to 20 minutes, it should be ready so you can put it into bowls and serve. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week.